Hey everybody, this is Perch, and when you don't have a lot of information, you speculate, you come up with ideas, you try and form your own opinions. And right now in comics, there is this kind of wall of information, and it's good. To be fair, it's always kind of been a little bit this way. Knowing what's going on within the inner workings of Marvel and DC has always been a little bit mysterious, but it did feel like we were closer a while back. I think with the mergers, with COVID, with the internet, with all these other things, there's been these barriers that have been erected between kind of the readers of the comics and the companies themselves, and there isn't that same connection. In many ways, I think the company may have thought, "Hey, let's make that connection kind of based around Twitter," but it doesn't. That provides kind of a surface level marketing. It doesn't really provide that connection into the company. So when you have that situation going on, people speculate, and you get mails like this one. It says, "Here's this writer says, hey Perch, love your channel, an almost unhealthy output of videos, fully unhealthy, my friend. But keep them coming because they're awesome and actually helpful. One of your videos where you talked about how we need more positivity. I'm always talking about positivity. I'm a big glass half full kind of jackass. That's who I am. In the online discussion of our hobby is the kind of reason I started doing comic videos myself. My videos are bad and the views are bad, but it's fun. My channel's name is SoulCon. That's SOLECON. I'd appreciate a shout out. Yeah, go check that out. Hopefully you're still doing it. Remember, I mean, like when I started the channel, I had nobody, and then it slowly grew, and that's how it goes. The thing is, you got to keep going. A lot of people, they do it. They're like, I'm going to have 100,000 subs in 2 months. And then they go on some live stream, but everyone goes on live streams, and you don't get it's consistency. If you keep at it, then eventually you'll have thousands of videos. People will make fun of you. You have your very own mumbles, and then here you'll be. Anyway, back to the mail. Okay, sorry for the long intro. Now to my main point. I did a review of Kelly Thompson's recent Black Widow run, and I enjoyed it. Natasha was kicking ass, looking gorgeous doing it. Story had some intrigue and mystery. It was, by all intents and purposes, a normal comic book. I agree, by the way. I think I'm not a big fan of Kelly Thompson. No bones about it. For a variety of reasons, both on with her work and kind of the shenanigans she pulls behind the scenes. I'm not a fan. However, Black Widow was a good book. I thought that was one of her better ones. I thought that she put some effort into it, and credit where credit's due. I enjoyed it. So, be that as it may. The back to the mail says, but as went along, it felt like some of the Marvel editors or higher ups read it and went, Kelly, what the fuck is this shit? No one has told Natasha how amazing she is, how she could be kicking ass. She's not being told that she's amazing for doing it. And then issue 7 of the series has 10 instances of OMG Natasha, you're so amazing. No girl, you're amazing. Hey, we're both amazing. That is true. That did crop up. And then it never gets brought up again. It was so out of left field, it felt like one of those record scratch moments in movies. The same with a black character that got included. It felt like an editor went, Kelly, what the fuck is this shit? Where is the inclusion? And then we get a black, scrawny nerd who is good at doing the science. Honest to God, they literally had a line saying, I wasn't expecting to be doing any science. He appeared in 2 issues and then nothing. No word from him till the end when he opens the door. That's it. It was weird. Like I said, I did like the run. I did like the comic. I liked what Kelly Thompson was doing there. There were bits that felt like somebody inserted stuff. Now it also sounded a little bit like Kelly's writing, so but it was weird. And not to, I don't want to take the complete side rail onto, the diversity and inclusion, all that kind of stuff. But I do notice that a lot of comics, when it's time to include diversity, and it's either a handicapped character or a minority, they will have the character come in, appear for like an issue, have a prominent role, and then vanish for a year. It is very strange. And I always think if the goal was inclusion, then you should be pacing yourself so that the character stretches out through the entire year, that you get consistency out of this character. But a lot of, especially this happens particularly with the supporting characters, they tend to come in, they have a moment or a panel, and it's like the writers are out of ideas. It's like, well, we did what you wanted. We put a character in there. Now what? It's like, well, nothing. I guess we're done. That's how it comes across. And especially I've noticed it lately for characters that have a disability. Fine, you put a character with a disability in the comic, but if you're putting the character in and it's like, hey, Here's a special issue where the superhero goes to a local meetup and meets a local organizer who's trying to get food for needy people or something. And the character's has a disability, walk with crutches, in a wheelchair, and they make a deal of kind of saying this character is included in the comic's life. But then the next issue, that character is gone. And you never hear from them again. Like I'm not sure what's being accomplished there. Like you should build these supporting characters to last. That's kind of the point, isn't it? Anyway, back to the mail. And again, it says, again, I really enjoyed this run, but it was so weird seeing these moments of current Marvel basically being shoved in between all the normal stuff in this run. And I can't blame Thompson for it because they are so explicit. Like they're here and here and here, and that's it. The rest is just basic stuff. It genuinely felt like Marvel was looking at the lack of tropes and thought, well, we can't have that in our comics. I'd understand if Avita or a Teeny would insert those because they can't write, and that's all they Jesus. That's all they know. What happened to the positivity you started the mail with? Anyway, and Marvel just gives them a pass. I can understand that, but it felt like Marvel themselves put those tropes in, and like they think they're a good thing. So I guess my question is, are they really that stupid? Thanks for your time. Keep up the awesome work. Okay, I'm speculating here. I don't know. But I do believe that there's editorial that comes in and says, hey, let's add some inclusion here. Let's add some diversity in here. And it's done just like kind of I described. It's you got a story. It's like, hey, in this scene where Deadpool is walking his dog because he's got a dog now, and he goes to a dog park. It'd be really cool if there was a guy who ran the dog park. The guy who ran the dog park is Hispanic and missing an arm, and we'll just have just have the artist draw that. That's how it comes across. And I'm sure the idea is like it's exactly kind of what it says on the surface. It's like, hey, let's make these comics inclusive by including lots of different things in it. But there isn't really thought beyond drawing somebody into a panel or two. And we know from years and years of Barbara Gordon, from tons and tons of comics, you can have recurring characters who are not white and have a disability or are gay or any of those. You can actually have them in the comic. I mean, how far back do we have to go with the inclusion of Pied Piper in was it Pied Piper in William Messer Loeb's his Flash run with Wally West? Like, you can have recurring characters, all different demographics. You can certainly do it. It's pretty easy to do, but when it's done this way, it does feel like just kind of window dressing. As for the other thing, the you go girl, you go. I don't know. It is weird because it always feels, like you said, like a record scratch moment. The validation in comics, and there's a recent issue of New Mutants, which was terrible for this. All the characters are patting each other on the back over and over and over. And it's like, it goes beyond just like, hey, here's these characters trying to support each other into this weird performance art. Like, no, you are the best. No, it's you who are the best. You are the best who is the best. It's you who are the best. No, it's you. That's how it went on and on and on. And it's like panel after panel. It's like, you don't need to be tough. Yeah, I'm not going to be tough, but I can only not be tough because you're so good that I don't need to be tough around you. That's what makes you awesome. No, you. Like, good Lord, people. I don't know who writes this way. That, I think, is more the writer, to be honest. I don't think that's the editor being like, hey, we need to have these ladies validating each other more. I don't think that's going on. But I do think it's this, I don't know, people get into a weird pattern where they just pat each other continuously on the back. It's strange. But the rest of it, I don't know. The different characters that pop up in books, I think is one of those where it's like, hey, instead of using, and it's like editor's notes, instead of using, two white girls and a Mexican girl here talking, why don't we make one of those? Why don't we include one of them can be trans, another one can be in a wheelchair, and then it's then we really got some diversity. Like, okay, you could do that. The point I'm making, and this is the point is, does that move the needle to anything? Meaning, Okay, if like this Black Widow comic where you had the black friend, the science, the guy who's doing the science, like, do we care about that character in the future? Shouldn't we care about that character in the future? Like shouldn't this character, if you know, if we're introducing a new character who's good at science who can help Black Widow, a master spy, out on a mission, shouldn't this character, like stick around, or we should see this character show up again in a couple issues, or I mean, I don't know. Did you just kind of sail them in, sail them out? That's a part that strikes me, is when, and there's so many videos, there's so many people who make comments about, the too much diversity in the comics and all the rest. But it's not like it's shallow. It's not lasting. It doesn't. They're not adding good diversity. They're not adding recurring characters. They're not adding recurring moments. They're just like, hey, let's just throw this person in for a page or two. Hey, they're there. You got what you wanted. And so it always feels very shallow to me. It always feels like it's like nobody's really committing to this bit. Nobody really, like the people who say they want to have more inclusion in comics don't actually want inclusion. They just want to draw some people into a panel. Or maybe they assume nobody's reading more than one issue, which may be a safe bet. I don't know. But that's the part where I would like to see some of these efforts, because as we talked about before, you can go back in comics and there are lots of really awesome characters who are not male and not white and not straight in comics. But the common thread to all of them is that they didn't have just a panel. They had stories, lots and lots of stories. Imagine if John Stewart, Green Lantern, would have showed up for like a panel, and then we don't see him again for like 20 issues, and they bring him back again. And you're like, oh yeah, remember we had a black one. Here's a black one. There's a black Green Lantern now. Imagine if that ugh, the character would have never been popular. I mean, how much money would have been left on the table? You've got to actually, give him something to do. And when you give him something to do, it turns out he's pretty awesome. He can do a lot of things. That's what you do. A lot of the inclusion that are going on in comics right now, I don't think leads anywhere, because there's no the characters are barely make an appearance. They disappear right away. So yeah, seems kind of dumb. Seems kind of dumb to me. So I don't know. Anyway, good luck with your channel. And are they, is Marvel sabotaging the writers? I mean, sabotaging themselves, certainly. And more importantly, like, again, if your goal is inclusion, you're sabotaging that goal too. So, my opinion. Oh well, let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for writing. Again, good luck with your channel. Hope it takes off. Thanks for listening.